Hey guys, it's Tim with Invisible Pain. So this morning when I got up, I started hearing about, some of the news reporters going crazy over Nikki Haley winning the Washington, D.C. Primary, talking about maybe this will get her back on track. And knowing good and well that she has no absolutely path to win the presidency. And still not being honest with a voter and letting people know the only way that she even won Washington, which will probably be the only one that she does win, is because it's legal for both parties to be able to vote in whatever primary they want to. So that means Democrat, liberal, whatever, and that's where her vote come from, was liberals and Democrats. Excuse me. So I started thinking, why? Why is everybody, why do the media, why are they pushing lies? First thing you hear is in a head-to-head matchup with Nikki and President Biden, she beats him by 8 or 10 points. And then it shows a head-to-head with Trump and Biden, and Trump beating him from 2 to 4 points, varying. And I'm sitting there and I was telling my son last night, I said, think about how idiotic that sounds. And if any of that was even anywhere close to the truth, then Nikki Haley would be absolutely be destroying Donald Trump in every poll. And Trump is beating her anywhere from 15 to 35 points in every election that they've already been through. So I started thinking, what's the outcome? Well, then I looked back, I said, every president that picks a vice president, they pick a vice president that, when the president gets voted in, they sit there and they want to say, okay, we're going to be in here for 8 years. They go ahead and pretty much guarantee they're going to win 2 elections. They're going to be there for 8 years, and then they're going to pick a vice president to pick up their torch and kind of deliver, the things that they've already been working on, so they can try to get another 8 years to finish. So that's, 16 years. So if you've got Joe Biden, which he picked Kamala Harris, right? He picked a black female. And what I'm about to say is absolutely has nothing to do because the woman is black. I don't care if you're black, brown, white, green, red, Indian, whatever. If you're from the Middle East, I don't care where you are. If you're honest to the American people and you can actually better this country, then more power to you. There's things that the Democrats do and say that I don't agree with. There's things that some of the Republicans do that I don't agree with. Am I listed as a Republican? Yes. So what am I getting at? All right. So with all the headwind that Biden's ahead of, you would think that people would be leaning on him to, Joe, you've been in here going on, after this, if you even got this next one, you'd be in there for almost 60 years. It's time for you to step down slightly and try to throw your vice president into the spotlight a little bit and give her, what's due. So then you look at Kamala Harris. What has she done? Absolutely nothing for this country. If you look and try to make things up, then you lie. As most reporters and most Democrats do to the American people. They think that they try to make you sound like as if she's worked her hind end off since she's been there, and she's got a lower approval rating than Biden is. So what's getting ready to happen? Either they're going to leave Joe Biden right where he's at, which 99% of the thing, what's getting ready to happen, that's exactly what's going to happen. They're trying to say that Gavin Newsom's going to come in and sweep it up. He don't want this right now. Now, I'm not saying he won't run eventually, but let me tell you why. They went out and picked Kamala Harris for one reason and one reason only. And, well, I'm going to say 2 reasons. They picked her because she was a woman, one, and because she was black. They didn't pick her because she was a strong, very intelligent black woman that could lead this country to new lands and had great ideas and, had a resume that was 10 miles long on the ideas and the things that she's done and done for this world, and it was and try to put her in a way for the American people that she's the best thing since sliced bread. No, they done it for the color of their skin to get votes. They've years ago they would kick black people in the teeth, but now they want to try to lie and act like they cuddle and they care. So this is what you Democrats you need to watch for. Biden's not going to get out of the way, because he knows if he does, he's obligated by the black voter to let Kamala step up and for her presidential bid. They're not going to turn this over to her. The Democrats don't want her. President Biden don't want her. He can't get rid of her because he'd be that much farther down the chute than he already is. He's not moving. There's no way that he can look at his vice president right now and say, well, we're going to skip you this next term. But then if, say, Gavin Newsom does win the presidency, we'll let you come in after him. No, that's not going to happen. So Biden is going to ride the ship, whichever way it may fall. And the Democrats thought that they had a shoe-in was going to let the Supreme Court do their dirty work. And that's failed today. Trump's leading in the polls. And the only thing that people want to talk about, like today you look on most TVs, it shows Biden and Trump, run the presidency. And today I cut the TV on CNN and it showed Biden, Trump, and Haley. Haley has no business being there. So what is the true reason of Haley being there? The true reason for her being there is to get the next best thing to Biden without pissing off their base. So if they got Nikki Haley, what would they have? They would have a left-leaning Democrat that believes and votes like Biden does. And right now, only thing, everybody has touched her with softball gloves, right? So they thought that, well, if they put Nikki in there and push her and back her, and if she could get rid of Trump, then soon as she got rid of Trump, they would turn on her ass just as quick as they've turned on Trump. And the coddling that they've give this woman, Nikki, the softball questions and being nice and, patting her on the ass for nothing that she's done and trying to destroy the Republican Party, what she's doing. But if it was her and Biden, they would back Biden 120%, and you would see the wolves come out and grab a hold of Nikki Haley's presidency run, and they would absolutely rip her apart. You can see what stress does to her when you've seen Vivek Ramaswamy call her a crook on national TV and asked her for a rebuttal, and she got a little tongue-tied and said, oh, he's not worth my time. Wouldn't even stand up for herself because she didn't know what to say because everything that was being told on her was the damn truth. So what do we have to look for this? We've got two choices. We can either stand up and vote for Trump, right or wrong. Everybody says, well, Trump does this and Trump does that. Trump says this and Trump says that. If you had been through what this man's been through, as soon as he come down that elevator when he won that first presidency, they was on him, calling him illegitimate president. They've attacked him since day one. They've attacked his children. They've attacked his kids, his oldest boys, his oldest girls, his wife. They've attacked everything about this man. And then last week, the man had to come up. They thought that they could bankrupt him. And then they said, well, you know what? Let me get this judge, this crooked-ass judge, and let us throw so much money against him and find him guilty that we can break him and pull him away from a campaign. Well, they didn't realize that they had picked the wrong one. So they said, they give him the fine. It's going to be almost $500 million. Can you estimate that in your bank account, knowing that you had to get a bond to pay out $500 million to be able to put it to another court and say what they've done to him is wrong? Well, he come up with it. He had it and he done it, and he's off and running again. They can't get rid of him. They can't buy him. They all these fake charges are bringing up against him, and these left-leaning Democrats and liberals thinks it's okay. Well, what if it was on the other foot? What if Biden or Trump was still in there and he was doing that to Barack Obama, and Barack Obama was in and out of court with 90-some felony counts on him, and Barack Obama would have already had to drop out because he's nowhere in the same field as Trump when it comes to finances. All of these other people would already have to step out. So we look at our world right now. We look at where we live right now. We look at when Trump was in office, and be honest with yourself. And I'll give you my honesty. When Trump was in office, me and my family had 2 businesses going. We shut both of them down because of COVID restriction. And then the whole family got sick at one time. I was sick for 30-some days with COVID. Couldn't even hardly hold my head up. Didn't know whether I was going to make it till the next day or not. And then, right as soon as we come out of that, my wife come down with the C word. And we've battled for a year. And I've made the choice up in my mind, to hell with running a business, to hell with worrying about money, to hell with all this other stuff that gets mixed up in your mind. The fake-ass people that gets around you when you're doing well, and you got a pocket full of money, and then when things get a little tight and you go away for a little bit, they don't even call you. They don't call to check on you. They don't care. And so, what would you do in the next election? Would you vote for somebody again that would keep us on the same track as we are right now? Or would you vote for someone that helped your business grow, and it seemed like America was on a better track? We didn't have everybody in the world wasn't going to try to kill us. They didn't despise us. We was working with people, and our trade was great. We was making money from all these other countries. And then on day one, Biden took office. He shut down every border control that Trump had put into office and wrote into effect. Everything that Trump done, Biden come in and by signing of a piece of paper, he deleted everything that had been done. So now you got people blowing in across this country. You got people coming in from everywhere. And while people has worked all their life, I was listening the other day, said the average person on Social Security is going to make about $1,400 right? The average person that's coming in, I think every person that's coming in right now across the border gets $2,200 debit card or Visa card, whatever you want to call it. They get food stamps, they get free housing, they get free insurance. Now they're working it out in different states that they're going to try to find them a home, transportation, and don't even have to have a driver's license. They don't live under the same law that we live under. They're coming over here now, and these men that's coming over here, they're coming over here with children, and say, "Oh, is that your little girl?" "Oh, yes." Well, when Trump was in office, Trump made them do DNA testing right then. That way they could prove it. And if it wasn't so, they pulled the child away from the so-called father and tried to find out whose kid that was, so it didn't show up in some kind of a sweatshop, or it wouldn't be sexually abused for the rest of his life, boy or girl. So now when the child comes in, "Oh, is that your child?" "Oh, yes, yes, yes." kid gets $2,200, the adult gets $2,200, and you know the adults is taking all that. And they have proven in the United States right now that China is pushing all this mess to come over here, and they're opening up massage parlors and Chinese restaurants. So when the men come over here, they can put their butts to work in the Chinese restaurants, and the women and little girls, they're putting them to work in the massage parlors. And none of the left women is wanting to stand up and say anything about that. They don't want to talk about that because it's on their plate. They've caused it. We've got people that's getting raped. We've got people that's getting killed. We've got people that's getting robbed. We get people that's losing jobs. And all for what? For what reason is this happening? It's a guarantee that the Democrats are trying to put in place that they'll never, ever lose another election. I have no problem with men, women, we're all from all makes and models all over this world. If they want to come in our country and come right and do it, like I've had friends that worked for me years ago when I helped build hospitals down in Raleigh, Mexican guys that would, some of the best guys I ever met in my life. My mother's house burnt down, and they would come up here and work with me, redoing that house and doing things, and me try to pay them, and they wouldn't take a dollar from me because of the friendship. And when people comes over here with that kind of ethic, you want to be around people like that. That's friendship. But the way they're doing it right now, and the reason people's got such strife, it's not because of the men or the women or the color of their skin. Democrats wants to make it look like all Republicans are racist, and we hate something other than the color of our skin, which is, excuse my language, that's total bullshit. But that's what they want you to think. And some people believe it. And it's up to them how they walk through his life, if they want to believe a lie or not. But so what do we need to know? If a man comes over here and he's wanting to do it right by coming across our border, then absolutely let him come. But for millions and millions of people to come across our border the way it's happening right now, and all the people that's coming across, them giving them free money, not counting all the people, the gotaways that's just come into the country, that they absolutely have no idea who they are. So the raw truth is this. You remember September 11th, when those planes hit those towers in New York City. All the devastation that went on, the people that lost their lives I remember where I was at and where I was standing when I heard it. It busted everybody's heart across this country and world. And we're in a place right now where we have no idea who's here. It's not just Mexico they're coming from. They're coming from all over the world. And most of them is military-aged men. So if we don't know if we can't read between the lines, something's getting ready to happen. And I'm not necessarily sure that the Democrats even care. If they cared, they would stop it. The Democrats want to say the Republicans won't do this and they won't do that and they won't do this. That's the reason the border's like this. We need more money. We need more men. We need the Republicans to vote and approve this stuff. It's a bold-faced lie. If Biden can stop it with a pen, then sure as hell it can be started back the same way Trump did. He's trying to push everything he can off on Republicans to try to do everything they can to try to save as much of these liberal donors and all these diehard Democrats that'll never vote for nobody else. But if something like it happens, and I hope and pray to God that it never does, but everyone needs to remember one thing, which side of the aisle that it falls on. And it falls on the Democrats for not stopping this when they could, and it falls on Biden's administration. They're destroying this country, people. So tomorrow morning when I get up, I'm gonna go place my little single vote. And I've got a pretty big family. I've got 5 boys and 2 girls. All of them vote. Their mates, they vote. And tomorrow I'm gonna do my part on trying to put in this country back on that stable ground where it's okay for people to stand up and talk about the Lord. It's okay to call a man a man. It's okay to call a woman a woman. And it's okay to be normal. All this other fake stuff, talking about men having babies and trying to confuse your children, that's who they're going after. They know they can't beat us in our minds to change our minds, so what can they do? They can try to ruin our children. And believe me, they're trying. And most parents don't even pay attention. So tomorrow when I get up, I'm going to go to their voting precinct. And I'm going to cast my vote for Donald J. Trump. And if you had any damn sense, Democrat or Republican, wipe all the mess that you've heard out, all the lies that you've heard. I'm not saying that Trump is perfect, because Trump's just like we are. He's a man. Has he made mistakes? Yes, I've made mistakes. Has he done very, very good for this country? Absolutely. Why don't they like him? Because they can't control him. They can't buy him. And they're afraid of what he's going to say. Think about that. Like, share, comment, and follow his page, Tim Tilley, Invisible Pain, on YouTube. Thank you, guys.